All right, so the Dune trailer, it is 12:02 p.m. 5/3/23, May 3rd, 23, right? The Dune thing is premiering right there. I am not seen it yet. I'm about to react live. Let's see. Make it full screen. Turn the audio off. Crap. Gotta get my headphones. Alright, sorry about that. Let's see. Bluetooth. Come on, man. Alright. Alright, here we go. Woo! Alright, so let me explain that. On Dune, the people of Dune, the Fremen, Chani, who you see sitting with Paul, ain't never seen water. Now remember, Paul's world, Caladan, right, where he's from, massive oceans, right? Rain, water, falls from the sky. It's interesting because in Dune, right here, right there, Paul explains to the Fremen several times different concepts. Swimming being one of them, raining being another one, water falling from the sky. People of Dune cannot imagine such a thing because water is so sacred there. On this planet, when they walk around for most of, all of the planet, they lose water. They'll die within a matter of minutes if they don't have on these things called still suits. Still suits recycle the body's water. When you piss, goes into the still suit, gets filtered a bunch of times, and you drink it. When you goes through the still suit a bunch of times, you drink it, right? Your body's moisture, when you sweat, when you do anything, all gets collected by these still suits that Paul and Chani are wearing. Now, to be super technical, they should not have their face mask down. They're losing water, right? They're breathing. Water's coming out of their mouth, the moisture from their spit, right? It should be on at all times. All times. Let's continue. Jessica, Reverend Mother Jessica. Holy crap, she looked crazy good. That's Reverend Mother. That's her as a Reverend Mother. That's awesome. Look at that. Woo! I'm a big fan of the actress who plays her. This is really exciting. Technically, this should have been something that happened in part one, because in book one, Paul and his mother fully acclimate into Fremen society, and it actually ends with Paul sitting in the Emperor's chair. And then Dune Messiah takes place a few years down the line after Paul has waged war across the galaxy. He creates this massive band of fighters, right, that are super loyal to him. They're called the Fedaykin. This is amazing. Irulan! I didn't realize that was Florence Pug talking the whole time. That was Irulan. Irulan narrates the entirety of book one, so to speak, right? So not really, but when there's certain messages that you're reading that are from Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides, right? The Maker, right? It's read by Princess Irulan. Like, it's through Princess Irulan for the most part. You have to kind of listen to the audiobooks to know what I'm talking about, but this is really cool. Irulan, right? Basically, Paul marries her, but never has sex with her. They never make children. And Yeah, oh, this is great. I love this. What did she say? But the darkest of them all, Rainbow Man. What was the first part? In the shadows, lie many seekers. Okay. I see what you getting at there, Florence Poog. I think that's how you say your name. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments. The darkest secrets remain. I wonder if that's sort of hinting at the fact that she's very deceptive and conniving and manipulating, because what she does to Chani sort of just comes out of nowhere. We don't really see it when you're reading Dune Messiah. This is interesting. I haven't seen her in really anything aside from Black Widow. She was in Black Widow, but yeah, this is all. The cast is one of the best parts about this. It's such a crazy diverse cast. Yeah. All right, so what you're seeing here, right, is these are the Sardaukar. I'm sorry, no, House Harkonnen troops, burning. Are those House Atreides dead warriors? I can't really tell. Someone without a still suit, so obviously it's not a Fremen, right? I mean, that looks like that could be Gurney Halleck's armor, because remember we saw Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck with his helmet off, and they made it seem like he's going to be fighting Beast Rabban, or he's in a massive battle with Beast Rabban. If you're unaware, Beast Rabban, right, Dave Bautista, is actually the Baron Harkonnen's nephew. Not the brother of Fade Ralpha, Austin Butler, bald guy. No, they're cousins. Beast Rabban is sort of like a placeholder as someone who rules on Arrakis right now, right? So right after the Harkonnens take over, Beast Rabban is a placeholder, and eventually Arrakis is going to go to Fade Ralpha, right? But this is how they're getting rid of dead bodies, which in Fremen society is a big no-no, because Fremen have these things called death stills, and this was mentioned in Dune Part 1, but they have these things called death stills in which they take a body and extract it to water. Now, the process is unknown, but if I had to guess, it's called a still. It's probably like a traditional still here on planet Earth, and in the alcohol still, you condense alcohol vapors from grain alcohol, condense it down until it evaporates, and then eventually the stuff that comes out the little tap of the still is like pure moonshine. So with human bodies, it probably put the human bodies in this giant pot, evaporate all the water out, boil down what's left, and get the rest of the water out of that, and then they use that water to be stored underground in tanks. But it's necessary with desert life. They wouldn't be able to continue to live if they just buried their dead or burned their dead, because water is so sacred. Now, it's interesting because House Harkonnen does stupid things. Like, they'll have a massive pool, right, sitting in their base when they're running Dune, when they're the like leaders on Dune, and like the Fremens are like, what the fuck is wrong with these Harkonnens? They're wasting water, such blasphemy. And there's like different instances where the Harkonnens will wear like water necklaces, or I'm sorry, the Harkonnens don't do that. The water necklaces are sacred. That's part of Fremen society. But the Harkonnens shamefully waste water, and it's like a way to keep the Fremen like at a distance, so to speak, because the Harkonnens are separating themselves, showing that they're way more powerful, have way more money than Fremen do. Like, water in Fremen society is as good as gold, right? So if you see someone wasting this precious substance, you're probably going to, well, hate them, but also sort of be a little bit afraid of what they're capable of if they're that crazy enough to just waste water like that, right? So, right, is the proof that the movie will pick up right where Dune Part 1 left off. Now, remember, the last time we see them, they're walking with Chani and Stilgar to go and acclimate into the Sietch. Now, there's a giant spice orgy that happens in the Sietch. It's not going to happen in the movie because it's PG-13, but I would have loved to see some of Jessica Ferguson's titties. Continuing on here. You hear that drumming? Paul Muad'Dib made drums from the skin of his enemies. I'm just revealing lore, but I'm going to put massive spoilers in the thumbnail and stuff to let you know. Don't watch this unless you want to know what's going to happen or unless you've already read the books like myself. Paul Muad'Dib is such a badass that he knows that if he takes the skin of his enemies and makes drums and plays them before going into battle, his enemies are going to get scared in the sense that they'll probably be turned into damn drums. Now, it's interesting. In Dune Messiah, when Paul goes and visits with one of the Vadykins, Paul's Fremen name is Usul, right? But Paul, I think, when he visits one of the Vadykin, you can see one of the drums in the background. Like, Paul notices one of the drums that he made of the skin of his enemies in the background. Although I could have completely fabricated that. I'm just really excited. I hope they show the skin drums. That would be really dope. That shot right there looks exactly like the opening scene. One of the opening scenes from 1984 Dune, when Paul and his family first arrive on Arrakis. Like, they see Stilgar, I think it's Stilgar, watching them. It's one of the Fremens watching them from a distance. And the binoculars look exactly the same. But there was something I skipped over here. Florence Pug. Who you talking to? Who are you talking to here? Oh, that's Gurney. But who are you talking to, Florence? Is it... There's no way they'd reveal Count Fenring in this trailer. It must be his wife, Lady Margot. Fade Ralpha, you sick son of a bitch. Holy crap. That dude, Austin Butler, should have played Joffrey because his lips look like two worms fucking. Like, this worm is doing this, and the bottom lip, or this worm is doing this, and they're like mating. That's what his lips look like. You dude would have been a good Joffrey. Holy crap. Where's the blood in his body? That is a scary looking dude. He looks like a penis with a face. Ah! Y'all seen that? Y'all see that? Oh, that's Lady Margot right there. Hello, sexy ass. You Bene Gesserit space witch. Yo, I don't know about y'all, but if I ever ran into a space witch and she put that Bene Gesserit on me, I'd be like, take my penis, take it with you, put it in your pocket. Man, that's just scary. He looks like a silkworm. Oh, Beast Raban with the... Oh, look, the Baron stands. Now, you guys got to realize that the Baron is so fat, he can't move on his own accord. He has these things called suspensors attached to his body that allow him to levitate. And in the movie, they made it have this chicken bone cracking noise, like... It's really creepy and eerie. I love it. Beast Raban has failed Vladimir Harkonnen in this scene. Beast Raban is being punished. This is how it shows you how badass and how scary of a villain Vladimir Harkonnen is. He planned the whole thing. He set up Beast Raban to be instilled as the leader. He knew that he was going to fail to keep the Fremen at bay and sort of at peace and like successfully rule Arrakis, because, you know, Paul's running around with his Fremen and they're taking out the Sardaukar, they're taking out Beast Raban's forces from the Harkonnen men, right? So Beast Raban is failing. So this is where Vladimir Harkonnen walks up and tells him, yo, you suck. I'm getting ready. A Fade Rout is coming in and he's gonna rule in my favor. Dang. Hold up, that was some fast action there. Alright, yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's the arena scene, alright. Red Sands of Arrakis, Beast Raban being punished. Alright, Vladimir, alright. So there's a ship that's shooting. There's no way Duncan Idaho is coming back in this. I mean, maybe towards the end. It's possible. That's not Duncan Idaho. That's a Fremen. It just looked like my boy Momoa there for a second. That's Channy. Yeah, that's Channy. Lady Margot. Oh my God, the trailer's going too fast. It's going too fast. The trailer's going way too fast. Channy. It keeps doing that shit where it gets me out of full screen. Okay. This is clearly Channy. Paul's about to probably do the Water of Life scene here. That's Lady Margot. It looks like Lady Margot's the one going into like the vault, but that's the Fremen. That's Channy using her hand. taking Paul into the chambers where they do the Sietch Tabor. Sietch Tabor is the name of the Sietch that they're in, but this is where they do the spice orgies, if I'm not mistaken, like the inner chambers. This is the water of life right here. That's the water of life with the little makers inside. Jessica is going to take it into her body and convert the poison into regular water. She's going to go through this massive trance-like thing and be enlightened afterwards. And this is where she's going to have the blue and blue golden eyes and the tattoos on her face that we saw at the beginning of the trailer. That was after this moment right here. This is going to be one of the first scenes in the movie, the water of life. Paul does it later in the movie, I think. I mean, it happens in the books. We'll see if he does it in the movie as well. Now, who is this right here? All right, who is this? All right, so that's a... Ooh, is that a Chris knife? No, that doesn't look like the tooth of Shai Hulud. Like the tooth of Shai Hulud that we saw in Dune Part 1, the movie version of it. That doesn't look like it. That looks like a Sardaukar knife. And I did the thing again. Okay, so Paul is clearly there. This is Paul killing Sardaukar, potentially House Harkonnen assassins. This could be right after they killed his son, Leto the First. It's definitely Paul fighting. It could be Beast Raban. Like, they're wearing their version of still suits. The big, bulky, clacky, clunky looking things with the big space helmet. That's the, if I had to guess, the Sardaukar or Harkonnen version of outdated still suits. Because remember, when you're out in the high desert, you lose moisture so quickly. You die within a matter of minutes. So if someone's fighting Paul out in the open desert, they probably are wearing their version of a still suit. This could be Beast Raban, maybe trying to, something that's added for the movie. Maybe he tries to redeem himself and he ends up fighting Paul. It's kind of hard to tell. That's clearly Paul fighting someone who's not a Fremen. Beast Raban yelling. He really needs some sunlight. Like, he really, really needs to be, allowed to sort of just tan and get some vitamin D soak in. This is Paul Muad'Dib wait, is that Jessica? Yeah, that's Jessica waking up from her water of life ceremony. Woo! This is where the trailer is about to kick off. I already know. This is Paul getting ready to ride an Old Man of the Desert for the first time ever. If you're unaware, Old Man of the Desert is a nickname for the sandworms of Dune. Paul sets up a thumper, and he's about to take his first ride. This is amazing. This was actually shown in the teaser that came out yesterday. It's not fancy, just to hock on it. They go great distances on these worms and arachis. They like ride them until they're tired, and then they ditch them and hop on another one. It's awesome. Like, they literally have control over these massive creatures that everybody and anybody who comes on arachis is afraid of. The Fremen have somewhat tamed them. They ride these sandworms around. I love everything about Dune, dude. Catch that, ride that. Like Channy going, ride you later. Yeah, come on. Muad'Dib, Usul. I shouldn't be saying Usul out loud because y'all watching this are not necessarily Fremen, and y'all should know Paul's secret name, which is Usul. Usul. If you want to say it correctly, you gotta practice going like half of the noise that a chimp makes. You know, the chimp makes a full noise, right? So that's half the noise. Then you do it 3 times. Then say it. Usul. That's the only way to pronounce it correctly. Usul. If you can't do that, you are not a Fremen, and get out of my face before I take your water. Look at the look on Stilgar's face. Mans was like, oh my God, I didn't think he was going to do this. But he did it. Look at his face. He did it. He's like, I can't believe he did it. Yeah, because it's interesting because even though Paul passed all these tests and he bests them in the weirding way and they're aware of the prophecy, they still don't believe he is who he is until like it's upon them until he's sitting in the Emperor's chair, right? It's Speaking of that, how do y'all, I wonder if they'll show it in the last little bit of this trailer, but how do y'all think the Emperor's palace is going to look? Oh my God, they're probably saving that reveal for the actual movie. They don't want to reveal something like that in the trailer. I could be wrong. I haven't, it could pop up here. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. We got some ornithopters coming in on Sietch Tabor. This is probably, that right there is probably when they kill Paul and Chani's son, Leto the First. They end up finding where Leto the First is being held at. Actually, Leto the Second. It really is Leto the Second. But then the God Emperor is Leto the Second as well. So really, this is like Leto 1.5. Leto 1 is Paul's father. Leto 2 is his son. But yeah, let's just continue on here. I'm taking wild guesses. I could be wrong. Beast Raban. Okay, so let me talk about this. Sorry, that's not Beast Raban. It's Feyd-Rautha. You guys have heard me say Feyd-Rautha like 6 times now. But Feyd-Rautha does these things where he duels slaves in the Harkonnen fighting pits. Now, he does duel them in the sense that, like, they both have weapons, and Feyd-Rautha is trying to kill them. The slave is trying to kill Feyd-Rautha. But Feyd-Rautha has this device instilled and installed in all of these different slaves that he fights, wherein is he can flip his swinger, right? Flip his finger, flip a switch, right? And the person becomes like nullified. Like they literally just sort of, they don't die, but they stop moving. And that's when Feyd will come in and kill them. So what happens in one of the more bigger fights, Feyd is fighting someone and the control device doesn't necessarily work as quickly, and Feyd has to use his own skill set to kill this individual. That's probably what this is right here. And that's when people realize, oh shit, Feyd-Rautha is a badass dude. He's kind of showing off his prowess for the higher-ups in House Harkonnen, specifically his uncle, right? Baron Harkonnen, Vladimir Harkonnen, who is the ruler right now, right? And then Feyd's going to eventually replace him. I love this movie. Oh, we have a lady Harkonnen? Aside from Jessica? Aww. Their love story is going to be what makes me cry in this movie. I'm trying to look. It looks as though I'm looking to see if I see the device or whatever. I don't. But it's actually really interesting in this fight in the books. You get the POV of the opposite person that Feyd is fighting. So it's really cool to have the perspectives of both sides of the battle. So this is after Jessica becomes the Reverend Mother for the Fremen. Right? They have their own version of a Reverend Mother. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a Fremen word, and Fremen words descend from ancient Hebrew and Arabic. But this is when Jessica is super respected. Now, this might not actually be Jessica. This might be another person of what Jessica becomes, like the Reverend Mother for the Fremen. This may be the other Reverend Mother for the Fremen who comes in and allows Jessica to do the ceremony and process to become Reverend Mother for Sietch Tabor. What's interesting is, like I said, I don't know if you guys watching this read my last video, but Jessica ends up marrying Stilgar in a political sense. Like they become banded together. Stilgar's the leader of Sietch Tabor, and Jessica becomes the leader of Sietch Tabor too, and they rule through a sort of mutual companionship. What is this? Are they giving Irulan a different role? So this is for sure a Fremen. That's the Sardaukar behind this Fremen right here. The Sardaukar with Irulan. Irulan's the daughter of the Emperor Emperor. The Emperor's forces are the Sardaukar, so they're transporting her to Arrakis to do something. This Fremen is probably someone Irulan had in her employ, and now she's being confronted about not necessarily maybe being all that faithful to Irulan and her cause. Yeah, that looks like some crazy armor. That looks like something out of a Lady Gaga video. Did she borrow that from a Sia video with Lady Gaga? Feyd-Rautha has his seed taken and sort of stored. So he has sex with a Bene Gesserit, and they take his DNA. You got to realize that Bene Gesserit play this game of DNA to try to make the best matches possible to further the movement that is humanity, right? So they have tried to make the Kwisatz Haderach before, right? And Jessica does it successfully through Paul. But their breeding program is very exclusive, and the details of the movie version of it will be likely revealed through this scene right here, where Feyd-Rautha hooks up with this lady, takes a seed, and it's preserved. This was Channy running. Ah, man, this is amazing. I absolutely love everything about this movie. Now, obviously, the last few little scenes there was right here. This is Paul. May thy knife chip and shatter. About to duel Feyd-Rautha. He obviously beats Feyd-Rautha, sits the Emperor's chair, forces the Emperor to, allow him to marry his daughter. This is dope. I hope that we get. I just hope we get like 5 more movies. They're like some of the best parts of this story. The best parts of this story take place after Paul has been dead for thousands of years. The God Emperor doing anybody, right? Even after that, right? We have some of the most interesting characters in WomanOfSteel, right? And Miles Teg. These characters, aside from Duncan Idaho, are completely removed from Paul. They're descendants of Paul. They're descendants of House Atreides. They're descendants of the Sardaukar and Feyd-Rautha and Princess Irulan and Ganima and Leto II, right? But they're like the most interesting characters that Frank Herbert ever wrote, in my opinion. Miles Teg and WomanOfSteel, they're so interesting. They're so complex. They're multifaceted. And if we ever get to see them on screen, it's going to be through the Dune movies or a Dune TV show. So I hope we get more. So yeah, I'm excited. Let me quickly pull that back because I'm going to watch this like 6 more times off camera, but I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So this is where Paul has, a massive amount of Fremen, and this is probably right before or right after he takes out the Emperor's ship. Now what's interesting is I did not see one lick of his sister in this trailer at all. And you got to realize that Aaliyah of the Knife is a massive part of this story. So basically, Jessica's pregnant again. That's mentioned, right? In the first movie, Paul says you're pregnant. Jessica doesn't even know that, or wasn't sure yet, right? But she's pregnant. So when she takes the water of life, being pregnant, remember that scene where we see them bringing out the water and it's got those 2 little bugs in it? When she drinks that and changes the water of life, successfully passes through the ceremony, her daughter Aaliyah, the fetus, becomes aware of itself, right? And then connects with all of its other past lives. And that doesn't usually happen until a Bene Gesserit is much older, has been trained, and has ways of sort of dealing with it. And that's how they sort of become a Reverend Mother. So not every Bene Gesserit becomes a Reverend Mother. So not every Bene Gesserit has every single member of their life to talk to in that sense. But so when this happens to Aaliyah, she ends up becoming aware. She's born fully being able to speak and think and walk and talk and do all these things. And eventually what happens at the end is she's the one, her actions lead to, spoiler alert, the whole thing's been a spoiler, the death of Baron. So Baron's death is going to happen in this movie, and she's the one who sort of does it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Aaliyah as a character, because clearly Aaliyah Might have actually been in this trailer, and I just missed it because I just was so excited to tell you guys about it. So please slap a like on this. Please subscribe if you like my Dune content. This was all one shot. I had never seen the trailer. Obviously, most of the people hadn't seen the trailer yet. But yeah, hopefully YouTube lets me upload this. Thank you for watching. That's my saying for my Song of Ice and Fire videos. But listen, bless the maker and his water. Muad'Dib.